Eric, can you tell us a little bit about your clay career?
Sure. So I actually started clay as a hobby. My degree is in communication, and I had a corporate job. I worked for about 16 years in marketing and advertising. And I had taken a pottery class, and I fell in love with clay, as so many people do after a pottery class. And so what happened was, after I learned the general techniques, the teacher said, make 20 mugs. I was a single guy at the time and needed a mug, and so I got 19 extra mugs. So I started selling them at street fairs and turned it into a hobby that paid for itself. When I decided to retire from the corporate world, I didn't know what I wanted to do next. So I had been doing some street fairs. I had turned it into a hobby that paid for itself. And I thought I'll just sell some more pots while I figure out what I want to do next. And what I want to do next never really came. So I spent a couple of years as a production potter. I did about 20 shows a year. So almost every other weekend I'd go from show to show. And then in 2003, I got the opportunity to study with a Taiwanese master named Leon. So he came to Cornell University. I was in Ithaca, New York at the time, on a fellowship, and they opened up some workshops to the local potters. So I took a workshop with him. And after he went to go back to Taiwan, we had a party for him, and I'm sitting having a beer on the back porches last night, and I thought, who better ask about my pottery career? I've been a full-time potter for like 6 months at this point. And I said, Leon, what's next for me as a potter? And he said, Eric, you need to make better pots. And so I kind of held him to it a little bit. And he said, give me a month. A month later, I get a phone call. He says, can you come to Taiwan? So I went and did a 5-month residency in Taiwan. I studied with 4 different masters while I was there. And I came back and I was making better pots. So I did that for about a year and a half. And then it came to be wintertime. And in upstate New York, after Christmas, there's really no selling. So I thought, I'm going to try one of those Yixing teapots. So Yixing is the birthplace of teapots, Yixing, China. And also is the birthplace of ceramic trompe-l'oeil, trompe-l'oeil being trick the eye, turning something into something else. And so in the 1600s, they carved teapots to look like pumpkins and gourds and tree trunks to integrate nature into the tea ceremony. I fell in love with these teapots when I was in Taiwan. So I thought I'm going to try one of these trompe-l'oeil teapots. So I actually made a pair of them. They got into a museum show in Buffalo. One made the postcard, and I'm all cocky, and I send the postcard off to Leon, and what do you think of me now? And he calls me up and he says, Eric, you better come back to Taiwan. Like, I'm just going to stop this train wreck before it happens. At this point, my first daughter was born. I couldn't do another 5 months, but I took a month and did some intensive study in Leon's workshop, and then became a trompe-l'oeil artist. And so I really fell in love with the technique. I'm a nature-oriented person, so being able to sort of channel trees through clay, which is my medium, really blended kind of who I am creatively as well as philosophically. And so that's how I started making teapots. So everything I make that's a teapot is Yixing based. It's based on Yixing theory, although now I break all of those rules and kind of made my reputation by putting contemporary form to this old classic style of carving clay to look like something else. So that's my history as a teapot maker, and couldn't be happier.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that with us.
You're welcome. I'm thrilled to be in the show again, and so good luck and buy teapots.